Hey guys, since my thoughts were too much to put into one setting, I will be dividing all my points into different episodes and focusing on one thing at a time. Hopefully that goes well. Also, no, I won't be reviewing the other shows as they are on their own playing field in terms of events and world building. Keep in mind that I criticize this show because I see its potential and know that it can be better than it is right now, so please comment on what you think about the show, or if you were surprised at what you've learned. For this episode, we will be focusing on the world building, the world the characters live in, how it functions, and its perks, what makes it unique and other various things like its system or its culture. We will analyze what world the Sun and Moon show gives us and figures out if the world is good or a tad bit questionable. Overall, just enjoy the ride and the fun. The Sun and Moon show is a show that takes place in modern society, except for the fact that animatronics exist and live alongside humans. Both coexist despite the track record of the Fazbear name, and the animatronics tend to live in remote locations away from people or subside in empty neighborhoods. This world has many supernatural aspects in it, with ghosts, werewolves, vampires, astrals, and its main sources of special magic is magic itself, which can be created by making runes in a circle, and star power, which can be channeled by reaching deep into the cosmos and using that for power. Yet it requires a lot of training and slowly decays your body from usage due to the severity of it. It can also be given by astrals and harnessed by the star, which is made artificially, but it also exists in various places throughout the world. Ghosts are visible to animatronics and can get new vessels to go into, but linger around longer than needed. In this world, animatronics are pretty much sentient, and Fazbear and Co. make very enhanced animatronics, which are basically like humans. Nobody ever bats an eye like this, almost as if it's a normal part of everyday life of animatronics existing. There's also astrals of this world, who are powerful beings who maintain the balance of the world for as long as they can before the heat death comes. They don't take lightly to people who expedite the process via using star power to harm or kill people, and couldn't care less about anything except maintaining the balance of this world. The astrals are the zodiacs, but they also have messengers or others who become astrals to join their mission. The tech is extremely advanced, things like death lasers, portals to many dimensions, and even bases in space. This is the world building of the Sun and Moon show. It is a unique world that takes place in the present with sentient animatronics and various supernatural beings. On the surface, this seems neat, but I'm going to highlight why it's not. First, let's start on the animatronic side of things. Humans and animatronics coexist and don't care about one another. Why is that the case? Why can these sentient robots just walk around and be treated like normal human beings? Where are the people who just don't like robots? Why would people tolerate these robots when Fazbear has ended up causing the death of many children? If anything, I find it odd that the animatronics could just murder people and get away with it. There's nothing that. If humans have to follow laws, then so should animatronics, and those who act out are punished. The idea of robots just doing whatever they want without any semblance of consequences is just concerning. Whether it be from them burning buildings, orphanages, or just killing people, animatronics are too restricted. It's a modern society. If there are continuous laws put in place, then there should be a law preventing animatronics from doing whatever the hell they want and being punished accordingly. There should also be a lot more dislike from the populace in general. The government should hate the animatronics for the stuff they get into and for the tech they make. Not only is it advanced, but there's literally a portal to travel to different dimensions. Why wouldn't the government get its hands on that? We've all pretty much seen the bigwigs. They desire absolute control, and the fact they are ignoring the obviously questionable robots that dwarf them in terms of power makes no sense at all. The government doesn't exactly like it when anomalous powers and forces come out of nowhere and are more powerful than they have been. So it should be more in line to keep the animatronics in control. And while Fazbear could ideally pay as much money as desired to satisfy the bigwigs from giving animatronics punishment, there should be control of said animatronics. Humans dislike something different, after all, so why wouldn't there be laws and regulations? But also racism against these robots as well. There also should be kids who understandably hate them because of biases told by parents or rumors that spread around deaths because of the Pizzaplex. Also, animatronics shouldn't just be able to get access to magical powers like star power or magic. The show uses it a lot as a crutch to get the animatronics out of tough situations without actually working on a solution. It's very annoying that this is being used as a crutch, and the characters haven't even earned these powers. The only thing that makes sense is the star, and even that is wild. In a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is that the animatronics should not be roaming around and doing whatever the hell they want. There should be laws and regulations in place that are not only more reliable, that they could showcase how unique a society like this would function. So basically, government takes a more active role, animatronics are more repressed, and many safety laws are put in place to ensure the safety of the kids. Humans more so repressing the animatronics because animatronics are incredibly powerful as a hunk of metal, but also as intelligent as humans, and maybe even adding shock collars to the animatronics just to keep them in line as a sister location. To showcase that, while this is modern society, society doesn't trust animatronics enough to coexist peacefully without a safety mechanism, which I'd consider fair thanks to Fazbear's track record of things. There ain't no way these two groups exist peacefully without something in place to keep Moon from killing everybody and eating them just 'cause he can. To expand on the people of this world, I believe there should be those who study star power or magic and cultures thanks to the supernatural folk in the world. Those who study star power watch the zodiacs but also look for the stars of the world, which are rumored to be areas where special plants bloom that can cure ailments or problems, thanks to them being infused with a bit of star power or magic. These tribes are unique because they are descendants who have always believed in star power and magic since the beginning of man, and follow the signs of the zodiacs. They have innate knowledge in their field and teach about these forces, but they do not harness them, for they know great power is not to be trifled with. They keep their knowledge hidden, for man in power always wants to be on top and is willing to use any method to achieve such, and these forces being something not to mess with as they should be. They tell tales of those who harness powers like these fading and decaying away the moment they use a drop of it, and the process being agonizing. If they weren't fading, a storm of intense thunder and lightning struck them. Some can harness it, but it's rare. They have to be actively chosen. Plus, they see it as a message from the zodiacs that is not to be messed with. So many do not indulge in it. There are also tribes in the world that serve their respective zodiacs. They live in secluded areas all around the world, and entering is impossible because the place must remain sacred of believers. These mortals worship the zodiacs and are tasked with being messengers to mankind through vague cryptic wording, for the word of the zodiac is not easy to decipher. Some track where magic or star power is being utilized and report it to the zodiacs. The actual mission is simple after all. Maintain the balance of the world, so having willing mortals to help make that process easier without exposing themselves is oddly convenient, so long as the mortals believe. The creator of the sun and moon is also in cahoots with the government, not because he wants to, but because of profits. He could sell them things and make money and silently plot how to overthrow the government and rid the world of all people because the creator in general despises people for all the bad they cause. He's one of the ultimate looming forces in terms of things, and also prefers to keep the system in place where animatronics suffer, since not only do they not obey him, but they undermine his authority, so he doesn't care if the animatronics are suffering under the laws. Kids still go to the Mega Pizzaplex and other attractions, but are incredibly supervised as Fazbear couldn't exactly get away with it anymore, since parents barely ever trust kids alone with animatronics, and there was a huge lawsuit over it. This version would have Sun and Moon more restricted. No gaining physical magic out of nowhere. No having bases wherever the hell they want, or living wherever the hell they want. Animatronics, if they have homes, are restricted to quiet, desolate places and neighborhoods where no people are, to ensure the safety of the populace. Something that is set up beforehand is that the animatronics did have freedom, but were stripped of it a while ago. This event is talked about occasionally through the animatronics and is criticized, yet they are constantly reminded that a few screwed it up, aka sun and moon. So there's an immediate animosity between animatronics that keeps them divided and easily controllable. These events are the Nighttime Massacre and July 16th, and nobody forgets about them at all. Everybody remembers it, and they do not let sun or moon ever forget about it. Supernatural beings are also considered lesser thanks to humans fearing their potential, so most of the time supernatural beings have to play nice. They live alongside society and blend in with humans, making them almost indistinguishable. They don't exactly like humans or animatronics because both have tampered with nature and try to change it for their own benefit. The supernatural do have powers and are allowed to use them so long as they do not bring any harm to others. The only unfortunate thing is that the government usually takes them in for testing so we can have track record of how many supernatural beings are in society. Star power is the life force of the universe and is not to be handed out like freebies to people. Only specific individuals can harness its capabilities. That is because in the wrong hands, it can be used for dangerous means and eradicate the world. Stars can be found naturally throughout the world. There's the North Star, the East Star, the West Star, and the South Star. There can only be 4 stars on every planet. They monitor the area and make sure the planet is alive. They are the planet's lifeblood and sustainability. Every being on the planet is made out of tiny bits of star power, like the electricity that makes life function. This small enough force doesn't hurt the universe alone, but it puts it on a ticking time bomb that all this life force is slowly converted into dark energy like dark star power. Both forces exist in the world to balance everything out, and as the cycle goes on, more dark star power starts to exist, and so some planets are rendered useless and promptly destroyed. Now, the reason dark star power decays a person is because when you're using star power, you're using the lifeblood of the universe's way to balance, and your body cannot handle sucking in all this energy. The star power is also connected with negative star power, which is not good for the body and weakens it. This goes for everything, no matter what it is, unless it is explicitly chosen by the astrals, but that's rare. And while for animatronics it's a much slower process, it also happens to them and damages their soul in a way that it cannot be repaired. Star power is soul magic. The more you use it, the more it decays your soul, your being, your mind, because it is not intended to be tampered with. It is by design to be something not intended for the usage of any beings except the astrals themselves. Now, magic is different from star power. It can be harnessed, but it requires a lot of training, endurance, and mastery. It could take absolutely years and barely even work. Not only does it need specific runes, but it cannot be used for every situation and has a limit. For humans, they find it easier to use magic, and while for animatronics, it's harder. Humans have more soul magic than animatronics due to their natural being, whereas animatronics are more artificial. It can be incredibly powerful when used right, but when used for selfish means, magic tends to have a mind of its own and not cooperate. This is why a good magic user must forfeit all their selfishness and negativity to pursue the mastery of magic, a task most cannot complete. One thing about magic is that it cannot be used for anything bad, like burning down buildings. It inherently goes to the most worthy. Having magic just run around and do whatever it wants is just kind of silly after all. Limits are important. And now there are 2 types of beings in this world that keep an eye on everything in the universe. Umbras and astrals. Astrals are the zodiacs or messengers who ensure that the world is balanced, keeping an eye on star power levels and taking care of those who mess with star power without their input. They care immensely about balance and less about everything else. They exist only to do one job after all, but while most do not care for mortals, they care for each other and have their own little squabbles. Despite being star power people essentially, they are alive and have feelings. These astrals look more like animals than humanoids, but they don't exactly have a very human appearance. They only appear when they speak to their followers, for their incomprehensible forms would be far beyond comprehension. They prefer to not look like a human because humans objectify them. so they'd rather take the form of an animal or something weird. They oversee the planets in the universe and ensure the natural order comes and goes, the cycle of rebirth, death, heat death, and rebirth all over again. They do not connect with mortals in any form because attachments are meaningless to star beings who live for as long as their stars do. Now, this is because every zodiac is made up of stars. Those stars will slowly fade through millions or billions of years. When they do, the zodiac body will dim a bit before lighting up brightly and dimming, depending on the life cycle of the stars they have or in. For a star being made up of small mass stars, they will be the brightest when all stars reach their red giant phase, and will be the dimmest when the stars reach their white dwarf stage, and slowly dim for trillions and quadrillions of years. For those who have high mass stars, their stars also are brightest in their giant phase, like extremely bright, and continue to be bright or dim depending on whether the stars become a neutron star or a black hole. While of course stars take millions of years to actually do anything, it showcases that the astrals, they do go through changes. Now, astrals do not take lightly to star power users and will not hesitate to get rid of them, as one wrong usage of the star could expedite the ending of the universe, and they have to course correct, which would require unnecessary destruction of many planets and stars to stop the dark star power from infecting it. This is why they have many scouts, so that at the end of the universe doesn't come immediately like a slap to the face. They take their job very seriously and do not screw around. They also cannot die by any means unless their stars die or the Umbra come after them. Umbras are basically beings of dark star power. Like astrals, they manage the world except they're the dark matter, the heat death itself, and the weather storm. The opposite force that spreads every day naturally and takes lifeblood away. That's just how they work. They can damage astral bodies, as the astral bodies can damage them, but prefer not to, as both have made an agreement to do their part in the universe and ensure time goes forward. They are like death and malicious. They're just doing their job to decay life so that the world can eventually be ready for a new rebirth. They have survived longer than the astral bodies thanks to their always being a decaying to a world, but they have the mind of a curious child. They aren't allowed of their own darkness and can only reach out when mortals accept dark magic into their heart. Those people become their followers and spread the word of dark star power and death, since humans are notorious for refusing to accept such. Both the Umbra and the Astrals are neutral parties to the universe, just doing what their purpose assigns them to do. The reason Umbra spreads its dark magic is more so out of entertainment, but also to pull in those who are desperate enough for a semblance of control in their lives, more so to mess with the Astrals and make their job annoying sometimes. Umbra do not care for mortals in general, and only care for sucking the lifeblood out of everything that lives, as everything has star power and they really like that. There are, of course, a few tribes who have come to worship the Umbra and foretell the ending of the universe and its rebirth. Umbra also hands out dark magic and corrupts artifacts, and places them in various places to be discovered. In terms of technology, most of it wouldn't be able to go anywhere thanks to the government, so no dimensional traveling, no lasers, and even when Moon creates a star, it gets taken away from him after the accidents. This leaves Sun, Moon, and other animatronics forced to deal with the world they live in and the existence of Eclipse, as he's not supposed to exist, but they can't get rid of him because he hasn't done anything. The story, though, this time is about how fucked up the world is and how the animatronics have to live in such a world. And with Eclipse joining the crew, the fun begins. Overall, this is what I think the Sun and Moon show should have been. It should have had a fleshed out world that had a lot of details put into it because the potential was there, but they ignored it. Hopefully you find this concept pretty cool and stay tuned for more. Toodles!